Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to Psychic Talk. I'm your host, Priscilla Gendron, and welcome to a very sunny South Africa. We've been having a little bit of a heat wave here, so we're bringing a little bit of sunshine. And joining me today is a fellow South African who has taken her roots from London and brought them to South Africa in her 20s. And now she's relocated to the amazing Alicante in Spain. So it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome Psychic Diane Williams. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you for having me, Priscilla. Sweet of you to ask. Yes, I miss South Africa. For practical reasons, I'm here now, and I'm in touch with South Africa, and it's lovely to hear your accent.
Yes, and I see you still have retained your accent as well.
Which people think is Australian. Mixture.
It's a mixture, definitely. So, Diane, tell me a little bit about the journey you've taken. I know we briefly touched on it before we started the recording, in the fact that you were born in London, and you were born to a musician father, you were saying.
Correct. Yes. So that created the moving around from country to country. I recall my first psychic experiences were 3-4 years old. I remember seeing things in our homes in Canada. Nobody really believed me, I don't think. But that was the first sense, and also feeling different, like I didn't belong. It takes a long time until we realize we're different, including journeys of addiction.
Exactly.
And I saw angels when I was 9 years old. Never really spoke about it for a long time. But it's, yes, it's all part of what I call the architect's plan now, I guess.
Definitely.
Our soul plan. But a big part of mine was addiction. And when I arrived in South Africa, I was well on my way to that.
And at what age sort of did you immigrate to South Africa?
21.
21.
21.
So it was quite adventurous at 21 to move to a whole different country.
It was, and I had to learn Afrikaans in a hurry because I joined South African Airways, but I was with my father. We first landed actually in Natal, and I had to wait for an interview board to come down. In the meantime, I consulted a Sangoma on the Mozambique and KwaZulu-Natal border, who picked up right away on the addiction and what my calling was. And I did the Sangoma trip. That's not very well put, but I did study under a Sangoma. Hence the name Bone Thrower, which I've used. And I have done that, thrown the bones throughout my psychic work, as well as tarot and channeling. But my addiction, as predicted by the Sangoma at the time, lasted for a good couple of decades. I haven't been sober that long, 23 years now.
So, it is very enlightening, because I have found when I've been interviewing a lot of other psychics that there has been a lot of things like abuse and addiction that have played a huge role in how they've been shaped and the journey that they've had to go through as children and as human beings to find themselves and their path.
Absolutely. Very toxic household as a youngster, parents divorced. But there was a lot of that, a lot of toxicity. But I feel perhaps we needed all that to be able to identify with our customers, and that the addiction may be a form of escapism because of sensitivity. I'm sure you can relate to the sensitivity we feel as psychics, and more so nowadays.
Exactly. And I've found that, I think it is that you're in this tumultuous life, plus you're having all these experiences that are not normal. You're seeing things, you're hearing things, you're having these experiences that are not of the norm that you would have in everyday life. So that adds so much more pressure on a person to sort of cope with everything.
And you probably found with those people you've spoken to that sense of belonging was very difficult to find. So, but I do feel the place I felt at home and belonged the most was in South Africa.
We were
However,
talking earlier on, and there is a special place in our hearts in South Africa, definitely. So you were talking a little bit about going and studying under Sangoma and doing the rituals and the processes to be a Sangoma. Maybe you could just touch a little bit on what that journey was like for you, because it's always been traditionally an African person who has taken that journey. So
yes.
for a white lady from London, that must be quite an interesting journey to take.
Yes, and for a long time, nobody believed me that I'd done it. Um, I did mine in sections in weekends, which was also unusual. As I went along, I didn't go into the bush for like 2 months at a time, so it was done over a period of time. And I kept in touch with that with the traditional healers in Johannesburg, and my certification and everything. They checked on me, especially as a white Sangoma. Yes, some of the rituals were very harsh, of course, especially with the sacrifices of animals involved. I subsequently became a vegetarian. I love animals. Um, what fascinated me was the channeling which came through from my ancestors when I was throwing the bones. Same principle as other tools we use, but also getting into that state with the various herbs we were using at the time. But unfortunately, in between going for training, I was using alcohol. And the Sangoma picked up on that, so I'd be cleansed and go back to it. But all that had a reason, and it served me well subsequently. And I've based my oracle deck on messages from the ancestors, which I feel my ancestors wanted me to do for a long time.
And so now, doing psychic work, you have relocated and you are now in Alicante in Spain. So how long have
Yes.
you sort of been in Spain?
Almost 10 years. Fortunately, with my father being a musician, as a teenager, I lived in the Canary Islands, so I learned Spanish. So I speak Spanish, fortunately, and can do readings in Spanish also. So Spain, as an option at the time, was the best option for me. I didn't want to go to the UK, and my husband needed to leave South Africa. He wasn't behaving himself, and in Johannesburg, we were having a lot of problems with the electricity. In fact, I bought a small generator, an expensive one, and it literally blew up. So if that wasn't a sign from spirit to move, nothing was.
Yes, we do have a lot
Came
of
across with 7 animals.
7 animals.
Yep. Yeah. And collected more rescues along the way.
Yes.
So
And it's good to
that's
sort
why
of
I'm here for now.
take the whole process and take all the babies with you, kind of thing. So it's a hard
I
journey.
wouldn't have left. Electric or none, I wouldn't have left without my children. And they were
Fantastic.
fine. Yes.
And so you briefly touched when we were chatting about your oracle deck as well as a book. So tell me a little bit about what's the book and oracle cards called?
Well, the book is called Messages from the Ancestors. That's available on Amazon.
Amazing.
And what prompted these cards was, over the years I've collected a lot of tarot and oracle cards, and I was walking the dogs and I got messages from the ancestors, messages from the ancestors. Ultimately, these cards
Beautiful.
took about 4 years to complete, because I kept getting let down by artists, etc. And I finally finished them off in Spain with the help of a Benoni girl who's married to a Spanish chap in northern Spain. And anyway, what happened walking, I kept getting, do a deck. I was being prompted, never knowing that it could take so long. Maybe
Yes.
we'd like to choose a card later on, Priscilla.
We could. That definitely would really be very, very helpful, that we could choose a card and have it as a sealing of our lovely chat that we've had today.
Okay.
Because,
say when.
I'll definitely do that. And so just tell me a bit about the journey you've taken. So in terms of coming from South Africa and then you moved to Spain, what has your psychic journey been like in that path?
When I was in Johannesburg, I was flying, and I would meddle with tarot cards and do readings for friends. From Johannesburg, I moved to the South Coast and had an aromatherapy practice and would also do readings. I kept being pulled back to Johannesburg for some reason, and then I went into it pretty much full time from home. And then I was approached by an English company, which we spoke about.
Yes.
I don't know how they found me, through bonethrower.com, to do readings online. And that's what took off the whole online process. And I continued doing private readings, online readings. And then to get to Spain, just stayed online. So it's all remote now. Lots of psychic fairs. I did my own psychic fair in Kailami in Johannesburg, and I've done a lot of courses. I think a lot of us on this path do various healing modalities, and whether it's angel workshops and that type of thing. We're just hungry for more.
Exactly. It's kind of like we just have this thirst for knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and we sort of delve into all the different aspects of it. I know, myself included. You don't just have one modality; you have several that you dip into at certain times.
Yes. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. My online readings, that's international. And I've kept a lot of my clients who I read for remotely, privately as well, but online.
Yes.
So
I have noticed that over the last number of years, since we've had all the chaos in the world, that a majority of psychics and mediums and people like ourselves have taken our work online. And people always say, but how can it be so effective? And I said, the link can still be there. You don't have to be with the person in person for the link to be there.
I would never have thought so before, but it works. And just as well as Reiki does, it's like the intention behind it. I've had Reiki sessions and it works. People have done healings on me. I suppose it's like remote viewing. We're there, and our intention behind it. Yeah. And we've got to trust that spirit's acting in between,
Exactly.
So, yeah. It can be a little bit of a lonely journey, but I think that's also part of our path.
Exactly. Yeah. Because not a lot of people understand what it's like to do what we do, or understand the journey we've taken to get where we are.
And to find your little tribe of friends is also quite a mission, which has only just happened for me in Spain after all this time.
And that's very good, and it's something to really hold on to, because not everybody will understand it. And I have an incredible soul tribe that I am connected to, and at the drop of the hat, there will be close ranks around me, and I'm so eternally grateful for that. They all know who they are, so it kind of feels like, it's so good and important to have that, so that you can have people to fall back on, in a sense.
That's priceless. So that would be something that keeps you there, definitely. But it's taken me a long time. So even the journey of loneliness is something we can relate to.
Exactly.
And the young people looking for love.
Definitely. So kind of like, what kind of advice would you give, seeing the journey that you've taken? What kind of advice would you give to people that are wanting to explore their own gifts, but are just they don't know what to do and where to start, in a sense.
Definitely listening to your soul tugging at your coattails. Um, let's see. Look for like-minded groups online as a starter. And I mean, in South Africa alone, there's countless groups if you want to learn a specific modality. Classes, taking classes online. There's a lot of free stuff. Watching your show to see how other people work and getting in touch with them. And each one of your psychics individually would offer advice, including yourself.
Exactly.
But,
I enjoy what I do because I like to help people to explore their own journey, to say, you know what, it's not just a straight road. A majority of people have come through, incredible trauma or um, obstacles or things that have really tested them and their strength and their abilities to achieve what they want. So it's kind of like, for me, it almost feels as if you've beaten that, in a sense, and it's kind of like almost saying to the world, well, look what everything that I've been through, and look at what I've achieved.
yeah. And also when they do that, even when they're having a bit of a downtime themselves, they'll find that when they switch to reading or counseling another person, it heals them. It's very healing.
Very much so. Very, very, very
Yeah,
much so. And
yeah,
it's just so important that we take that journey that we've been on and we learn from it, because there's no greater lesson to learn than from our own journey.
yes. And to watch the countless clips, for example, on YouTube about why we're here, and really believe that we chose this path on our parents, and to learn to let go of the judgment, the fear, and why me. It just
Exactly.
helps a lot to truly believe in your bones that we're here for a reason, and that this is just a little part of the journey. There is an afterlife. It's not believing, it's knowing
Exactly. Exactly.
that we'll see our loved ones again and our pets again, as much as we feel the void now. Yeah.
Yes, and I always feel like I'm always so incredibly privileged to be able to, give people the messages that they need. And I do a lot of mediumship. So for me, it feels like, we always, I always tell people, don't wait for somebody to leave this world and see somebody like me, to get your validation or your answers or whatever it is. Do it before the person leaves this world. Don't
Yeah.
leave any stone unturned with this person. Resolve things or don't resolve things, but don't have to rely. I know it's like almost like putting myself out of a job, but it's like, don't rely on somebody like me to have your answers. Get
Yeah.
the answers before the person passes away, because um, then your energy will be different when you do come and see me. It's more of a sending of love and not looking for answers or forgiveness or whatever it is that they need.
Yeah. Because that's a terrible burden to carry, and people do. Oh, I only wish I'd told them or gone to see them. You know,
Exactly.
and then you can give them the validation of their existing, still living, and living better, happy. Their
Happier
only
lives.
concern on the other side is the loved ones they've left behind.
Exactly. And I think it's just so important. Um, so we could do the little card now if you'd like. If you'd like to draw a card,
Give them a shuffle, and let's
give
see
it a
what we
good
get.
shuffle.
Okay. And then I'll just scroll my hand over the deck and you say when.
Okay.
Okay, I'm waiting for Priscilla to say when.
Okay. When?
Okay, there. So here we are. Is your patience being tested? I will
Mm.
photograph this one. I don't. Can you see? Can you see the thing?
Yes, I can.
Someone's rage and discomfort is being inappropriately directed at you. Protect your own energy field with psychic protection whilst maintaining your own dignity and composure. say the ancestors.
Wonderful.
Maybe you can relate to that, or there's just I'll photograph it and send it to you. Plus, they've done a lovely job of the artist. He's
Phenomenal. They look beautiful.
Chap in Cape Town, Rob McBride. I had to get them finished off by a lady here because of the sizing and the printing and everything else.
Yeah.
Fabulous artist. Yeah. I'd love to promote his work as well.
So yeah, and in terms of your book, it's available on Amazon. So if people would like to order it, they can go on Amazon, and it's called Messages from the Ancestors, and it's by Diane Williams. And your cards are also available on your website, are they? To order.
Yes.
And your website is dianewilliamspsychic.com. So if people would like to go onto your website and order your cards or to make a booking, it's dianewilliamspsychic.com.
That's it. They're also available on Etsy.
On Etsy as well. Fantastic. So there's lots of different avenues and places to find them, because we become global now. We're not just local psychics anymore, we're global psychics. And I think that's just such a wonderful thing, that the craziness of the last couple of worlds has given us. They've given us the world, in a sense, and I always have to show gratitude for that, because it's given us the world. It's opened us up to not just see this little, four corners of our world. It's given us the four corners of the world, not just our little place.
Yeah, and we need to focus on that positive it gives us, and not the negative that was always there, so that we can help heal the world with our intention and our compassion. Yeah.
So I want to just thank you very much for joining me today. And if anybody's interested in getting hold of Diane, you can find her on dianewilliamspsychic.com. And please give her a try and book a session with her, or get her cards on her book. They're absolutely fascinating. So thank you very much for joining us, Diane.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, thank you, and join me again, same time, same place next week. Bye-bye for now.